In today's video, I'm going to discuss the simplicities of self-enquiry. Now, any of us who have turned our attention inward, especially in the early days or the early phases, knows that it's not simple. It appears to be very complex because we've trained ourselves, we've trained our mind to spin us away from the source of ourself. And we've trained our body to physically want to get up and move from stillness and silence. And so, again, especially in the early phases, there's nothing simple about this. Well, I do my best to bring it back to simplicity, to describe that it's about grabbing on to this sense of individual, this sense of me, this sense of I, and drifting back into being with it. It's really that simple, and yet it's not, any of us who are in self-enquiry these days. This video I'm discussing with an attendee in one of my non-duality sessions, and you can tell he's starting to describe what he's doing in self-enquiry, and it's becoming very complex. And I told him to hold off, and I start to describe this grabbing on to I. There is a quote in here from Rumi. Rumi is the 13th century Persian poet, and his quote is, "Drift down and down and down into ever-widening rings of being." And that's what I'm trying to describe in this video. You're grabbing hold of this sense of I, and you're drifting down and down and down into ever-widening rings of being. If you have any questions regarding self-enquiry or anything related to non-duality, you can always leave a comment below or shoot me an email or sign up for one of my free non-duality sessions.
I can start with just explaining what I've been doing when I meditate every day. It was described as just waiting for thoughts to come up, and when it does come up, you kind of hold it, and you then you kind of repeat it to really keep it there. So you catch a thought, you hold it and see if it is causing any effect on you emotionally or on the body, and then you run you run the thought again, and then you ask or you look for who's saying it in direct experience, what is the direct experience of the one saying it or the direct experience of the one hearing it. And
it's too much effort, Todd. It's too
okay.
much. Remember, you're trying to get to this root of I, because everything comes back to this root of I, this feeling of I, this sensation or sense of I. Right? And this I thinks it does everything. So when you're in silence with your eyes closed and there's a thought, who is this I that thinks? That's the question. And the ego, the sense of I, will turn around and go home and rest in itself. And that thought will diminish. For one, you're not attending to it anymore. That thought might be there, but if you're not paying attention to it, you don't know it exists. So therefore, it goes away, if you want to look at it like that. Okay? And this is it goes back to who is I'm bored, right? Because the ego will play I'm bored, I'm bored game. Who is this I that's bored? Who is this I that's tired? So any movement away
thought, feeling, emotion, who is this I that does that? And it will turn around and go back to self, and whatever it is it was doing will diminish. It will go away. The thoughts will go away. The boredom will go away. The frustration will go away. The smell will go away. These are the specific ones where, again, the who am I is, I like to say it's a more broad question. And maybe that's what you start with. It turns your attention in, and then you start to think, who is this I that thinks? But if I have two questions, those are the two. Who am I, and who is this I that thinks? And at first, I probably had more than that. Who is bored? Who's frustrated? Who wants to get the hell out of here? Who is fidgety? All of these things. Any movement that's trying to move you away from your stillness and silence is an attempt from your ego to get you to move. Anything. And anything can be attached to the I that wants you to move in those different ways. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm. Like, who is the I that is confused or doesn't get it? Or who is the I that is looking for something to happen?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Because the ego wants two things simultaneously. It wants to live, and it wants to go home in peace and happiness. That's the dichotomy of the ego.
What was the first one?
It wants to exist.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It wants to be real. It wants to be known as the entity that's doing your life. But it also longs for the love of itself. So you're just retraining it to turn away from wanting to be somebody and having it remember that it would rather be in permanent contentment. But, so at first, it's going to do everything it can to stay a person. And so it's going to come up with a gazillion ways for you to not experience yourself. And it's super sleight of hand, as we all know. But anything that is different than stillness and silence is ego. And it's an attempt to move you away from stillness and silence. And every one of those attempts is a gift from it to ask yourself the question, who is this I that's doing this? Who is this I that wants that? Who is this I? Who is this I? Who is this I? Who is this I?
When we ask this question, then what I learned or heard was that you're looking for an experience, like a direct experience of who is this I?
Let's go back your very first sentence in this conversation here. You wanted to know if it was an experience that you're looking for. The experience that it's a realization that there is no I. Who is this I that moves me away? Who is this I that keeps me frustrated? As it turns away from those questions and goes within, there is a subtle experience of the Rumi quote, that you're drifting back. And in that drifting back, you're realizing directly, inherently, that there is no I. And as you drift back, you do drop into being, and that is the experience you're looking for. It's a non-objective experience. Because the ego is non-objective. The ego isn't real. It's not a thing. It's a feeling or a sensation or a sense. And that's it. It's a direct realization that there is no I. There is no me. There never was. You could call that an experience. It's a direct, inherent experience. And that's what adds conviction to this message. That's when we say it's the direct path, or it's a direct experience. Like you are experiencing this as the truth.
So it'll just, I mean, this is not an intellectual thing. It'll just become clear that there is no I.
That's, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
that definitely has
know
happened.
this.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, this can't know this. Ever. That's one thing you have to let go. You can't, that's one reason why I say you can't have any expectations. Because only this has expectations. But it can never know this. So how can this ever expect to know what it finds here? Because this won't be here when you get here.
Okay.
So it's the settling, the longer times, this settles into your heart.
When you say heart, you mean like this area or something else?
Your being.
Sure.
Your being, awareness, consciousness, heart is another word for that. It seems like you're coming out of here and you're drifting into here. I don't know if we're just conditioned for that, but that does seem like the experience. You're turning in somewhere in here, and it's dissolving somewhere in there. But you'll realize there is no here and there. It's everywhere and nowhere. It's infinite.
Is there a way to I think the longer durations is definitely seems like the longer duration, and also the simpler questioning of just who am I, or what was the other second question that you mentioned?
Who is this I? That fill in the blank.
Okay. Who am I in the general, and who is this I when whatever it's doing?
Yeah, whatever it's trying to get you to move in whatever fashion, you apply that to that tendency, because again, that's just it's your will, it's your vasana that's trying to get you to move. And all you're trying to do is diminish the strengths of these vasanas, which is another reason why you're able to sit in stillness and silence for longer and longer and longer. Because, I mean, it makes sense, right? If you're in total agitation and restlessness, how long are you going to be able to sit in silence? 5 or 10 minutes before you're like, I'm getting out of here. I can't take this. But as that agitation settles down, you can sit in silence longer and longer and longer and hours, for however long you want to, because there's nothing inside anymore trying to move you away from the stillness and silence. It makes sense. I mean, are you at a point to where you think you could sit still for 2.5 hours and be okay with it? Or 2 hours?
I used to do 2 hours. I think I could probably do it again. I think it's just getting myself to commit to the time, and then it's usually not that difficult.
Yeah, and at first it seems like an effort to find that time, and then once you tap into this, you'll be like, it's a no-brainer. Like, you'll long for it. It turns into a longing to rest in being.
Mm-hmm. And number 12, never have any expectations going into self-enquiry, and coming out of self-enquiry, don't have any judgments. Just get up and move on with your day. Why do we not have expectations going in? Because this is a finite entity. Our ego, our mind, is not infinite. So the finite can never know the infinite directly. So how could this ever know this and know its workings and know what it's going to find when it gets here? It can't, because this isn't here when you get here. So that's why you can't have any expectations, because you can never ever know with your mind what you're going to experience in self-enquiry. And no judgments coming out. You know, some of the sessions might not seem as good as others, but we don't know that. Again, we don't know the inner workings of the infinite. So how can we judge if a session was good or bad or right or wrong anywhere in there? We can't. We will never know the mystery of the infinite. So that's why we can't have expectations and we can't have judgment.